we are back. Thanks for clicking on the link. Welcome to Good Energy. Enjoy the content, and everyone have a blessed day. And we are back. Thanks for clicking on the channel, guys. Let's get right into it. Smash the comment button, smash the like button, and subscribe. We'll be covering both Indian Wells Championship matches today. We'll start with Iga Swiatek versus Marie Sakkari. Yes, I did predict this in a tennis future on my Patreon. I told you guys to take Iga Swiatek to make the Indian Wells finals and win it. And I also told you to pick Rafael Nadal on the men's side to make the ATP Indian Wells finals and also win it. And here we are. Let's get right into it. On the ladies' side, we had several withdrawals. Petkovic with a leg injury, Krejcikova with an arm injury. This is a tournament many thought Krejcikova could win. Rebecca Peterson left with a shoulder injury. And some retirements as well. Conch, dizziness, Osario, thigh injury, although she was just getting spanked by Sasnovich. Amanda Anisimova, who looked like she would beat Leylah Fernandez, had to leave. Buskova, who was giving Kunamatova a run for her money. And Seville, who had to retire against Sakkari with a thigh injury. But nonetheless, even with the top tier players, there's only two left. We have the number 3 seed Iga Swiatek and the number 6 seed Marie Sakkari still in it. We saw some great matches. Anett Kontaveit, we saw her taken out by Vondrousova, really good matchup. Ons Jabeur, very frustrated with Seville. That was a great matchup. We saw Corey Goff, who is most likely going to be the future of this sport once she finally gets her rhythm and timing going against some of these elite veterans. We saw a great match with Simona Halep where she took out Coco Gauff. Angelique Kerber and Iga, that was a great matchup. And some of the other stars that are just struggling so far, Garbiñe Muguruza, Elina Svetlana, hopefully they can get it together. Sabalenka, hopefully they can get it together pretty soon here. Without further ado, in the round of 64, after having a bye, we saw Iga Swiatek tested 3 sets with Kalina, and it was pretty rough early on for Iga Swiatek. I mean, she had that huge layoff after winning the Qatar Open, which, hey, she did advance. Clara Tauson, the round of 32. Now, Clara Tauson just has that face like, no, she's not returning. Did she just return that? Clara Tauson, heat-seeking missiles, bombs. You do not want to face Clara Tauson. She is one of the strongest players on tour. Watch out for her. Again, she would lose the first set. Iga, 7-6 in the tiebreak, 7-3. Clara Tauson, heat-seeking missiles. But Iga Swiatek would make the proper adjustments and come back and win the second set 6-2 and the third set 6-3. That was a very great win. I think Clara Tauson has the power to beat any of these ladies. Watch out for Tauson this year. Iga was battle tested the first 2 rounds. And the round of 16, Iga Swiatek would face another challenge. Yes, that is correct. This test would definitely be probably the most impressive. Angelique Kerber had Iga Swiatek all over the place, and she had to make adjustments. Angelique Kerber, a great multiple slam champion. Iga made the adjustments and was able to get by, but not before, again, dropping the first set 6-4. But she would make the proper adjustments and win the second and third sets 6-2 and 6-3 respectively. And out of all of her comeback wins in this tournament, I think her next matchup in the quarterfinals was probably her most impressive. She did not have to come back at any time in this match. She never trailed, and she dominated from the start with her ground strokes. Madison Keys, who was just playing phenomenal this tournament, serving the ball well, not committing double faults, not making unforced errors. Iga Swiatek dominated Madison Keys, and this was a complete blowout. 6-love in the second set, a donut for Madison Keys. And guys, once again, I called it. Take Iga Swiatek to win this tournament. Iga Swiatek, the what she did with Madison Keys, I felt Simona Halep would be in trouble in a semifinal round, and certainly she was. And early on, the question would be, would Simona Halep's experience and expertise and fitness, her fast movement, would that be too much for Iga Swiatek, who is the bigger woman in this matchup? We see constantly a lot of the taller women struggle against shorter women, but that wouldn't be an issue. The first set did go to a tiebreak, which was very tough, both ladies breaking each other, but Iga Swiatek would take the tiebreak, and Iga Swiatek would end up bandaged in the second set. I don't think that would have mattered. However, Iga's serve and placement throughout the match was too much for Halep, just putting her behind instantly from the rallies, which is that's her game plan. And the reality here is Iga played very well in the semifinal against Simona Halep. And Simona Halep, she's becoming one of those players that can make it to the quarterfinals, semifinals, kind of like Serena Williams the last 4 years or so. Hopefully she'll be back soon. She's doing a lot of PR and stuff. Will Simona be able to win these Grand Slams still at her age? We'll see. But Iga Swiatek paid a lot of respect to Simona in the post interview. And the reality here is Iga is in the finals. Who would she face? Would it be Paula Badosa or Marie Sakkari? After first round bye, we saw Marie Sakkari take out Sennikova in straight sets, 6-3, 7-5. I mean, that's a win we knew Sakkari would win. And that's pretty much a matchup I gave out on my Patreon. Take Sakkari to win that in straight sets for the plus money, and sure enough, she took care of business. And in the round of 32, she would take out former Slam champion Kvitova, 6-3, 6-love, and that was not really a competition. I felt Kvitova was just exhausted from that Sasnovic match, and that's another matchup I said take Sakkari to win. And the round of 16, it got really good here. It looked like Seville would be in for a long day either way, but she would end up retiring 4-1 with a leg injury, and that's a matchup I was really looking forward to see how Seville could compete. We saw her get the win over Ons Jabeur, top 10 player. We saw her beat Emma Raducanu. We saw her just get some really amazing wins, at least Mertens, and I really wanted to see a full match against Sakkari, but Sakkari was just too strong from the onslaught. In the quarterfinals, Sakkari would take on Elena Rybakina, and this is a match here that I felt would go over, and sure enough it did. 21.5. It went 22 games, and Sakkari did a very good job handling Rybakina's serve and just her very strong, powerful forehand. Rybakina has a strong forehand, one of the strongest on tour. And I felt both ladies did a good job of going toe-to-toe. But nonetheless, Marie Sakkari, the more experienced player, and then the more stronger player, just playing the much better competition overall throughout her career, was just too much for Rybakina. Now, the semifinal matchup. Could Paula Badosa be only one of 2 women to repeat here at the Indian Wells? If you saw my initial preview and prediction video of the initial draw, then you know that Martina Navratilova has been the only lady to repeat back-to-back at the Indian Wells. Now, we saw several ladies do a kind of a one-off or win one, skip a couple years, and come back and win another one, with the likes of Serena Williams, Justine Henin, Victoria Azarenka. Those are just a few of the ladies there that have won it multiple times. Could Paula Badosa do this? I mean, she made it to the semifinals. She looked really, really good. And being known as a great clay player, she's really improved her game on hard court, especially indoor hard court. And what she did at the WTA finals, outdoor hard court, was just amazing as well. But this matchup here, if you follow my Patreon, even look at the video here I did on this preview and prediction, I said take the over. This is a match it's going to go over. And Sakkari won the first set 6-2. Paula Badosa made really good adjustments in the second set, winning that 6-4. But the third set proved Sakkari would just be too much for Paula Badosa. And the ladies exchanging hugs after the match, very good friends. And Sakkari dropping down in emotion and crying. And she said, look, I don't want to feel silly. I didn't win the tournament. I only made it to the finals, but it's very emotional for me to achieve something like this, and it feels good, so I'm sorry for crying. I know I still have work to do. And yes, she does. The third set proved that Sakkari was just a little too strong. I think just better than Badosa on this day. I think if they play 10 times, it probably goes 6-4 to Badosa. But nonetheless, now it's time for the main event. Now, the champion in this tournament is going to receive $1.2 million and 1,000 points. The lucky loser will get half of that purse and 650 points. Now, we have a potential number 2 ranking up for grabs here. It can go either way. Either lady that wins this tournament should slide into the number 2 seed. And we already know my pick to win this tournament if you follow my Patreon. Look, get your popcorn. Who's going to win the Indian Wells WTA Championship? And the reality here is these ladies have played several times. And Sakkari owns that head-to-head 3-1. They've played a total of 4 times. The most recent match, a very important one, came this year in Doha. Iga Swiatek won that in straight sets, 6-4, 6-3. And Iga just simply dominated that matchup. Now, that's a matchup that I told people it's probably going to go 2 sets. Whoever can establish the court control is going to take control of that match, and I don't think any adjustment's going to help. Before that match in Doha, the 2021 WTA Finals, the 2 ladies met. Sakkari won that 6-2, 6-4. Now, I felt Iga was just, her mind was just in a different place in the finals. I felt Iga possibly felt she did not belong there. She's been struggling with a lot of that lately, not feeling that she belongs in the top 10 or with these elite players, because she kind of busts on the scene. She won the Roland Garros, and from there she's kind of been thrust in the spotlight. And that happens with a lot of these younger players, Emma Raducanu, etc. I do feel Leylah Fernandez feels like she belongs, but Bianca Andreescu, I feel that she had a feeling that she didn't belong, and it kind of affects her confidence. Iga had serious confidence issues, and I feel that match at the finals, she just felt she didn't belong there, and she did not perform. She did beat Paula Badosa to leave, but she just got embarrassed there. Ostrava, Sakkari won that in straight sets, 6-4, 7-5, and Roland Garros, Sakkari won that in straight sets, 6-4, 6-4, which that was a surprise because Iga's a much good clay player, winning the French Open Juniors as well. But the reality here is, I think right now, these ladies, the tide's turning, and I think Iga is showing her maturity. And now, on the flip side, Sakkari is showing a lot of maturity as well. But I think right now, Iga is showing that she belongs here, and her game's proving it. If you follow the channel, I've said many times, if Iga gets down a set, if she drops the first set, her confidence goes and she's beatable, and you can see her give up. Iga wins 75, a little higher than 75% of her matches that she wins the first set. She is most likely to lose the match. You figure most people as well, if she loses the first set, because all of her confidence goes out the window. We've seen in this tournament her battle back after losing the first set to some really good athletes and great players, especially Angelique Kerber. That was amazing. Clara Tauson with her heat-seeking missiles. So the reality here is, no longer do you have to fear Iga losing the first set and just throwing her confidence out the window. She could lose this first set against Sakkari and still win this match. But the reality here is, I think Iga, and a case could be made for both of these ladies on why and how they can win this. But my analogy is I think Iga's going to win this match because her serve, she's not producing a lot of aces, but her serve placement is setting up these rallies to where great players like Simona Halep can do nothing with it. And I think a player like Marie Sakkari, she's not the type of player with her power that can be off balance and not hit errors. We know Sakkari has led the tour in unforced errors and double faults, and a game like Iga's where she's showing she can adjust after losing the first set, keep her composure, not give up, a game like hers can really frustrate Sakkari. And I think we're watching a change of the tide where she's adjusted to Sakkari's play, and I think this is a matchup that Iga's going to win. In terms of statistics, again, she's not producing a lot of aces, but she's setting up her serve to where she could win these games. Iga's winning 72% of her service games, and she's winning half of her return games. Those are some very important numbers right there, and you cannot ignore that. Sakkari, on the other hand, winning 76% of her service games, however, only 37% of her return games. Now, if her serve is not on, which she's known to make a lot of double faults, the reality here is she could be behind early in these games. If she gets behind on Iga, I can definitely see her confidence just going out the window. We've never seen a Greek player, female player, ranked as high as number 2 on tour. We've never seen it, so she has the ability to make history here. Sakkari's averaging about 4 aces per match. Iga's averaging about 2 aces per match. But the reality here is aces is not going to decide this match here. What's going to decide this match here, in my opinion, is the return stats, because both ladies do not have a strong, well, Sakkari does have a strong serve, but right now, this year, the numbers show that both ladies do not have an overwhelmingly strong first serve to just blow players off the court like a Sabalenka or a Madison Keys or a Clara Tauson. So the reality here is serve placement is going to be key, and I think that Iga has the better serve placement. It's been working all tournament for her. She's been setting up these rallies, and she's been embarrassing players. What she did to Madison Keys is just going to be very comparable to what I think is going to happen in this matchup. Madison Keys has the power like Sakkari. I do think Sakkari has much better movement than Madison Keys, but the reality here is in terms of power, Iga's going to isolate that power with her serve placement. I see Iga winning her games. I do see Sakkari making the mistakes to where Iga can get the break and close this thing out. And again, I think the return game is going to be key. And the reality here is Iga's returning much better serves. Angelique Kerber, Madison Keys, Clara Tauson, she's got the better numbers against the heavy hitters. And although Sakkari had some very impressive wins, Paula Badosa, Rubinkina, I think her earlier matches, she wasn't really battle tested as much as Iga. I do see Iga winning this matchup. It could go 2 sets. I normally like the over in finals. It could go 2 sets or 3 sets, but the pick here is for Iga to win this. And the reality here is Iga has arrived. The tour is on notice. Now remember, if you are subscribed to my Patreon, I told you to take Iga as a future. So now with her being a 2-to-1 favorite, you essentially hedge. You can hedge with Marie Sakkari. But the reality here is, for those who do not follow my Patreon, looking at this video now, the reality here is you definitely would want to be in the position where you can hedge the match, and some of you may or may not be if you follow my Patreon. But the reality here is I do think Iga wins. I took her to win as a future. I took her to beat whoever she faced, whether that was Paula Badosa or Marie Sakkari. And the reality here is she's here facing Marie Sakkari, someone that she does not have a favorable matchup against in terms of history. But I think with her 10-match win streak, the way she's strategically beating these players, she's going to come into this matchup with a better game plan, and I think her game plan is going to last. I think you're going to possibly see Marie Sakkari get frustrated And that's something that if you follow the channel, I've always said, Iga Swiatek, you can see her in the Osakas when they just give up. You can see it on their face. You don't see that on Iga's face this year. She went into the gym and she worked on her things that she weren't good at, her emotions, traveling with her counselor, working on her mental game. And Iga is mentally tough. You see her celebrating now. You see her giving fist pumps, things she didn't do before. She knows she belongs here. She's going to be in the WTA finals this year as long as she stays healthy, and she might even win it. Iga wins the Indian Wells. Sakkari will not be signing any balls today. That is correct. But hey guys, this video we are covering the WTA finals as well as the ATP Indian Wells finals, and we have Rafael Nadal, the all-time great. Yes, he will be taking on the hometown kid Taylor Fritz. Okay, how did these men get here? Taylor Fritz in the round of 64 took out Kamil Majrak 6-1, 6-1, and that's a matchup that we expected Taylor Fritz to win. Taylor Fritz having an amazing serve, and not a lot of lower level opponents can hang with that. In the round of 32, we saw Taylor Fritz take out Jermaine Renard. That actually went 3 sets, and the third set went to a tiebreak where Fritz would win 7-2 in the tiebreak. And Taylor Fritz, this is where it got to be a little fuzzy. This is where he was a underdog, and again he would be battle tested going to another third set with Jermaine Renard, and again he would take that in the tiebreak. Being another underdog in the round of 16, Taylor Fritz would take out Alex de Minaur, and again this would go 3 sets. And Taylor Fritz showed unbelievable perseverance, determination. I follow Taylor Fritz's game a lot, being the top-ranked American, and Taylor Fritz has played an amazing tournament up to this point, and he showed unbelievable grit and determination, and this would be an amazing feat if he could beat Rafael Nadal in the finals. Just going several tiebreaks and 3 setters to get to this point, it's really a great story for the 20th seed Taylor Fritz. The match against Kamovic, again another 3-setter where he just persevered and just kept on. Taylor Fritz, I follow his career, and you can see him give up. You know, a lot of players, when things aren't going their way, you see the expressions, you see the body language. Taylor Fritz gives up sometimes, and I hate to say it, but it's true. But the good thing going for Taylor Fritz right now is his match against Rublev, which was definitely his hardest match of the tournament, turned out to be his easiest match of the tournament. The crowd is behind him, and it seems like he's playing with nothing to lose right now. He's playing with house money. He's in a comfort zone, and again, that match against Rublev going straight sets, he was the underdog, 2-1 underdog. No one picked him to win that match. I personally didn't even think that would be a match he would win. But the reality here is, hey, he's got a smile on his face. He's playing with house money. He's comfortable. He is into the Indian Wells finals, and he's going to have a tough mountain to climb. And again, if you follow my Patreon account, then I told you take Nadal to win this tournament. After having a first round bye, Rafael Nadal started things off a little shaky against Sebastian Korda. That would go to a tiebreak in the third set, but Rafael Nadal would escape a young, fit American who is just causing havoc on tour. Sebastian Korda is just very fit, and he plays with a lot of heart. Daniel Evans, Rafael Nadal would defeat him in 2 sets in the round of 32, his second match of the tournament. He would then go on to defeat Riley Opelka in the round of 16. Opelka, a very tall guy, very powerful serve. Opelka's an over guy. For you guys watching this video wanting insight, Opelka's serve gets him, he's almost guaranteed a tiebreak with most of these matches. So I like Opelka when you watch him play. He's an over guy. His serve is amazing, but just playing someone just a little bit more fit and with a lower center of gravity, he ran into trouble against Rafael Nadal. That's a match that I had Nadal winning. And the reality here is Nick Kyrgios had a chance as the wild card. The reality is, the tour and its fans, we want to see its most exciting players in the finals. Nick Kyrgios is an exciting player. Him winning the Australian Open doubles, that was amazing. I tuned in to see that. But the reality here is, hey, he faced one of the greatest ever to do it and just fell a little short, but it was a great match, really great match. That would lead us into the semifinals, Rafael Nadal versus Carlos Alcaraz. And of course, this is a matchup that I had Nadal winning. Nadal was a very slight favorite. A lot of experts were picking Alcaraz to defeat his elder countrymen, and the reality here is, come on guys, cut it out. They played one time before. Nadal won that match by 9 games. All signs pointed to this going over, which I took Nadal in the over with the double win, and just kept ringing up on Nadal in the live match, because the reality is, I know this is a match Nadal is just going to win. He's not going to lose. But the reality is, Alcaraz played a very tough game, and he's a great youthful player. Nadal won the first set. Alcaraz took the second set, 6-4, 6-4 both ways. The reality here is the third set, that's when the antics started. Right before being up 4-3, right before Alcaraz served, of course, Nadal called a physio timeout, slow up his rhythm, get him off balance a little bit. And this is the tactics of a veteran. And a lot of people have complaining about Nadal on tour doing stuff like this. And, you see him calling for the physio timeout, slowing up opponent's rhythm. You see him taking all of the time on serve to wipe his sweat with his headband. He wipes his sweat with his headband literally every time. How's there any sweat left? And the reality here is, he's using all of his serve time, and then the umpire's giving him 3 more seconds. So stuff like this happens. But he's a veteran. He knows all the ins and outs, and this is what's going to get him through. Let's take a look at this Taylor Fritz final matchup here. These two guys have played only once, and that was coming last year. And Nadal owns a head-to-head one love. I mean, we're not going to compare accolades here. That would just be too unfair for the younger player, Taylor Fritz. But I do want to compare the stats for this year to give you insight as to why I think Nadal is just going to run away with this match here. $1.2 million up for grabs, and 1,000 points will be up for grabs as well. And the reality here is, if you take a look at Taylor Fritz statistics, he's having a pretty good year. Taylor Fritz averages about 12 aces per game, 12 to 14 aces per game, depending if it goes 3 sets or not. Taylor Fritz is going to need 48 aces just to get him to a tiebreak, and then another 20 more to win it. The reality here is, Taylor Fritz, his bread and butter once the ball is in play is his backhand. His forehand's very shaky, and his lateral movement is also very shaky. Nadal is the type of player where he's going to move him around horizontally. I think it's a fairly easy game plan for Nadal to escape here with a victory, and you're going to see him do that. Taylor Fritz, he's 8-4 on the year, and the reality here is, I mean, he's 0-2 against top 10 players, and the reality here is he is a much better hard court than clay, but his overall career, I mean, he's a 500 level player, and a lot of these younger guys are, I mean, having to face 3 of the greats simultaneously going at the same time with a lot of the other elders on tour, the Gael Monfils, the Rublevs, and a lot of the older guys on tour that are also pretty capable to win any of these tournaments. The big 3 aren't attending. So Taylor Fritz, I feel he is reaching a turning point in his career where he's getting more comfortable on tour. Yes, he has 250 matches on tour, but nonetheless, that's minute compared to a lot of these veterans. And like I said, I don't want to get into a video where I'm comparing Taylor Fritz's accomplishments against Nadal's accomplishments. That would be completely unfair. Nadal just having much more experience and just being the overall better player. But the reality here is Rafael Nadal does have weaknesses. He's not a very strong server. I mean, he only averages 2 to 3 aces per game, about 3.6 to be exact. But the reality here is last game against Alcaraz, he only had 1 ace. And, you know, his serve's been very shaky all week. He's been going, that match against Alcaraz going 3 sets, he could be a little fatigued with the short turnaround, you know, less than 24 hours having to get up and play with his old body. That definitely has an advantage for Taylor Fritz. But Nadal's 18-0 this year. He's a good clay player. He's a good hardcourt player. I do think that Taylor Fritz will be the rested player. He's the more youthful player. If his serve is on, then maybe he can hang around a little bit to where he could possibly make it a match. But this is not a match I think Taylor Fritz can win. Nadal's movement's going to be too much. Once the ball's in play, Taylor Fritz, his bread and butter is his backhand. If you make him come towards the net and play vertical, he's going to hit long. He doesn't have a really good volley game. He doesn't have a great net game. If you play him vertically and you put his backhand to the test, he's going to net or he's going to hit long. That's just how his game is. A veteran like Nadal is going to know this. He's going to do this. And I think Nadal wins this in straight sets. I gave you the future prediction. Enjoy, guys. This is good energy. Like, subscribe, comment below. Smash the comment button. And I will leave you with some photos from the Indian Wells pre-tournament cup. Thank you, guys.